It's hard to believe that the Kia brand has been in America for nearly 30 years. And when the company first launched in the US back in 1994, one of the nameplates that launched with them was the Sportage. Now today the Sportage is still around, however it's morphed into an entirely different animal. And for 2023, it's been fully redesigned, now in its 5th generation. This is the largest, most powerful, most luxurious, and the first ever hybrid electric version, bringing the Sportage finally into the modern era and offering a ton of fuel efficiency and features. So as you can see, this week we are driving this 2023 Sportage SX Prestige Hybrid, and the big question I want answered: if you guys are looking for a new family SUV that offers a ton of value and efficiency, how does the latest 2023 Kia Sportage stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we talk about the all-new styling for this 5th generation Sportage, I want to pop the hood and show you guys what's powering this thing. Now, like I said earlier, this is the first time that we're actually seeing a hybrid powertrain in the Sportage. Kia technically offers 2 variants, but let's go ahead and talk about what this one has here, which is technically the middle child in the engine family. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the Hyundai Kia portfolio, you'll know that this powertrain is also underneath the hood of the current generation Hyundai Tucson. It pairs a 1.6-liter turbocharged gasoline direct injection 4-cylinder with 2 electric motors that offers 44 kilowatts of total output. The combined horsepower rating for the gas and electric combo is 227 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you guys are keeping score of the segment, this actually has more horsepower versus what you find under the hood of the Toyota RAV4 hybrid and the new Honda CR-V hybrid. It also has more torque versus the new CR-V hybrid. Toyota doesn't talk about the torque figure in their hybrid powertrain. Unlike its Japanese rivals, this uses a 6-speed automatic transmission. That's right, it uses a conventional 6-speed auto as opposed to a CVT. Front or all-wheel drive is going to be an option. This SX Prestige comes standard with all-wheel drive. It is a mechanical all-wheel drive system that has a physical connection between the rear wheel and the gas engine, just like on the CR-V. Fuel economy is rated at 38 in the city, 38 on the highway, 38 combined for this all-wheel drive version. If you guys go for a front-wheel drive model, that'll get up to 43 mpg combined, so it gets the best mpg in the segment if you go for front-wheel drive. This vehicle is also rated to tow up to 2,000 pounds. Kia doesn't quote a 0 to 60 performance. We'll test it out in our actual testing. This vehicle has a top speed of roughly 130-ish miles an hour, and as it sits, it weighs in at just over 3,900 pounds. Well, let's close up the hood, and as you guys probably noticed, the vehicle is running. However, because it's a hybrid, the gas engine isn't on. It turns on occasionally to cool the interior or heat the interior up. But you can see the styling of this model is quite polarizing. This is built off of their corporate N3 architecture that they first introduced on the Tucson. Remember, this is built on the same platform. The front end definitely is bold. It has the latest version of their Tiger Nose face, of course, which has gotten bigger, wider, and bolder over the years. You can see you've got the new Kia logo there. My Tester is also particularly fancy because it's painted in this shadow gray matte finish paint for an extra $600, which is technically a bargain. Some of the European brands charge like $6,000 extra for a matte finish color. You can see the Tiger Nose grille has gotten wider over the years. It's got these gloss black kind of texturized geometric shapes in the grille. You have some silver accents here. You have a boomerang inspired LED daytime running light. And you also have LED turn signals, LED low and high beams. And then the SX trim includes these LED fog lights, which are cleverly hidden in the lower front fascia. That right there is the housing for the adaptive cruise control. And you also have nicely integrated front parking sensors. Now, overall, the styling for me is definitely a little bit too much. I kind of wish Kia went a little bit more restrained, something a little more boxy, but I also have to applaud Kia for just making that, or taking that risk to give us a car that's seriously really stand outish. Now, looking at the side profile, you can see the new Sportage is huge for the segment, which is interesting because the previous generation was on the small end. Kia has extended the overall length by over 7 inches for this new version at 183.5. This is now the big, or on the big end for the compact SUV scale. This is technically the long wheelbase model. In North America, we only get the longer version. In other parts of the world, they also offer a short wheelbase that is about 6 inches shorter than this car, which I think makes it look a little ungainly from the side. If you guys see photos of the shorter wheelbase model, I think it looks a little bit better. Its wheelbase is 108.5. It's 3.4 inches longer than the prior generation. Now you can see, looking at the wheels, these are the 18-inch matte gray finish wheels that you get on the SX Prestige. They're wrapped in a 235/60 R18 tires. You can see you've got four-wheel disc all around, all independent suspension, and Kia claims you get around 8.3 inches of ground clearance, which is with this car, which is actually a pretty good amount. You can see the wheel arches are painted in a gloss black finish. You have integrated turn signals, full 360 camera. If you go for an EX trim and up, you'll get those nicely integrated low profile roof rails, and then you can also get a panoramic glass roof, which is standard on the SX Prestige, optional on the EX trim. Now looking around this angle here, you can really see just how long this vehicle is. Surprisingly, it doesn't accommodate a third row like what you might find in the Volkswagen Tiguan or the Mitsubishi Outlander. The one thing you're going to notice, this area here is different versus the short wheelbase model. On the short wheelbase model, there is no rear window back here. Instead, it kind of just goes into the actual cargo area. And then looking at the back, you can see really interesting design to the taillights, which are full LED. I'm actually surprised Kia didn't want to go with a light blade, a full LED taillight there, but you can see it's got LED turn signals, LED reverse lights, and brake lights. The back again shows the new Kia logo. And then there's an HEV badge, which stands for hybrid electric vehicle. The plug-in hybrid model will show a PHEV badge. And then down here you can see no visible exhaust tips, but it does have kind of like a skid plate look to the rear lower bumper trim. Now opening up the cargo area, that extra length has resulted in a much more cavernous interior, which this car has. You can see the cargo space here is among the best in the segment at 39.5 cubic feet. That's about 5 cubic feet more than what you're going to expect for most of its rivals, which is very impressive. You can see underneath here, there is a temporary spare and a little bit of underfloor storage. And if you want to fold down those seats, which Kia makes it pretty easy to do, you just pull on these levers back here. You can see once you fold down the seats, they will fold completely flat. That's kind of not, it's not locked into place right now. This offers a maximum of 74 cubic feet of space, which is pretty much on par with a lot of mid-size crossovers. So again, that extra length has seriously improved the cargo capacity of this car. Moving on to the interior of the all-new 5th generation Sportage. Let me first show you guys the key fob before we get inside. You can see this is their current corporate fob that they introduced on the Stinger a few years ago. It has kind of like a detonator-like style. It also has remote start. You can also use the Smart Park feature where the vehicle can move forward and back with a push of a button. You can also open up the trunk, lock, unlock, and panic. It's a nice key fob, and for those of you who also have access to the Kia app, you can also access this vehicle through your smartphone. But again, very nice overall technology here. Now opening up the door, you can see my tester has a wonderful color combination with the Shadow Matte Gray and the Carmine Red Syntex. This is the company's faux leather material, which on the Prestige trim, you get an upgraded faux leather material, which are also heated and ventilated. The seats adjust in 12 different ways. It also includes 2-person memory. And this Carmine Red is exclusive to the Shadow Gray interior. So you have to get the SX Prestige model to get the Shadow Gray, then matte finish, and then the Carmine Red. I probably wouldn't go for the Shadow Gray myself because you can't take this through a car wash. It'll scratch the hell out of the paint. So again, keep that in mind for those of you who actually like this paint charge. It's got higher maintenance. Looking at the door panel here, you can see it's got a soft touch injection molded plastic. Really cool design for the door handle here, which is metal accented. You have some trim here that kind of tries to look like aluminum trim, but it's definitely a fake plastic. You have some piano black plastic trim, padded armrest here, and then my tester also has the Harman Kardon stereo. It sounds pretty good. This is the only way you can get the Harman Kardon stereo on the hybrid. You have to go for the SX Prestige trim. Now stepping inside, with a little over 8 inches of ground clearance, the step-in height is very easy into this car. And then once I get in and shut the door, the N3 architecture gives it a nice solid sounding thunk. Now when you want to start the vehicle up, Kia puts the start stop button here on the center console by the shifter. And then when you push the button here, you can see it's got the Kia corporate chime, and then it has a very impressive looking interior. You can see if you guys go for the EX trim and up, you're going to get two 12-inch displays, a 12.2-inch display here in the instrument panel, which is standard even on the LX version, and then you got a 12.3-inch display here in the center stack. The lower trim LX will have an 8-inch display, which also includes, surprisingly, I believe, wireless CarPlay. But again, you go to the bigger display, you can see it diverts back to a wired connection CarPlay, which my phone is connected to right now. But this screen here is very impressive. It looks a lot better versus what you're going to get in the Honda CR-V and the Toyota RAV4. I haven't been inside, as of this filming, the 2023 RAV4, which has a new 10.25-inch display. But again, this is among the biggest in the segment. This actually has a better infotainment setup versus its corporate cousin, the Hyundai Tucson. Now, in terms of the dash, you can see it's got a soft touch injection molded plastic with a faux stitching on the dash. There's some more piano black plastic trim. You can see very interesting look to the door handles, which give it a really cool, or to the air vents, which also kind of give it a similar look to the door handles. The steering wheel, you can see, I like the way it looks with its 3-spoke design. Paddles on the wheel. The steering wheel itself is a manual tilt and telescoping. It offers a good amount of adjustability so you can get a comfortable driving position. The horn sounds good. It doesn't sound puny, which is nice. It sounds appropriate given the size of this vehicle. And then of course over here you can see you have kind of touch sensitive controls here for the climate, and if you touch this button here, it switches back to audio. So this is something they introduced, I believe, first on the Kia EV6. You have to cycle back and forth between audio and climate, which takes a little bit of getting used to. You can see even the knobs change from being a dual zone temp to an audio and a tuning knob. So again, very futuristic, very clean, but it might take a little bit of getting used to. I like the responsiveness of this screen. You can see it's relatively snappy and responsive. You can also customize this to do a split screen view if you'd like. Going back to the Kia display here, this is the hybrid page that shows you all your kinds of efficiency, your energy flow, electric motor usage and whatnot. And then if you go here to the map display, you can see there's the embedded GPS in this car, which it looks like every other Hyundai and Kia product. It's nothing super special or fancy, but it gets the job done. And I also really like how Kia surprisingly offers a good amount of ambient lighting. You can also change the color of this to your liking and then adjust the intensity. Now, down here in the center stack, you can see my iPhone 14 Pro Max barely fits in here. It's connected via the USB-A dongle. That's how you connect it with CarPlay. You can see this will also close, but again, your big smartphones do barely fit in here, which is kind of surprising given how new this car is. You have actual hard buttons for your heated and ventilated seats, which is nice. You also have heated steering wheel. You have this rotary shifter, which you twist it to the left to go to reverse. Once you do that, you can see this car gives you a full 360 surround view camera, which is included on the SX Prestige. Only trim to give you this. If you want, you can also do a full 360 perimeter scan, which again, this is very much like a lot of German cars. Much better resolution versus what you find in the Toyota products, and I don't even think the Honda CR-V offers a full 360 camera. So again, Kia is really killing it there when it comes to technology. There is no heads-up display, however, available on this car, but it's not, I don't really know if it's really needed. But overall, that looks very nice. Down here you can see is your drive mode selector. You also have hill descent control. You also have a lock switch for the all-wheel drive system. You can see there's an Eco, Sport, Smart, and Snow mode, which we'll try out the different drive modes later on when we get behind the wheel. You can also push this button here. It'll give you an automatic full 360 camera view. So if you don't want to just put it into drive, there's a separate button over there, or reverse, which is nice. Surprisingly, there's a blank button here. And then over here, you can see the center console offers a ton of storage. I love this right here, where you can kind of get rid of the cup holders, make them appear, give you a little bit of storage there. Padded center console area here, and you can see that's pretty deep. It's I managed to stuff my 2 GoPro cameras in there with the mount. The seats are also pretty comfortable and supportive. The heat and ventilation works well. This is about as supple as the last seats that I tried in the current generation RAV4, which is nice. The glove box, you can see, is damped but not lined with felt. It's a pretty decent bin style glove box. You have LED map lighting in here. Surprisingly, no auto dimming rear view mirror. That is a dealer accessory for an extra $350. So Toyota gives you that included on the high trims, along with a digital camera mirror. Surprisingly, Kia doesn't offer that on the Sportage. And then you can see here, big panoramic glass roof, which offers a power retractable shade. You can also tilt that. You can also open it to go over the front seats, which you can see this is the max it's going to open, but it does let in a lot of light, which is nice. I think that this feature, which you can't even get on something like the Honda CR-V, definitely makes this car a lot more appealing for those of you who like that. So overall, the front seat area offers most of the tech that you'd want, aside from a heads-up display and wireless CarPlay. It also offers a ton of space and pretty good visibility. So let's go ahead and hop into the back seat, because this car, with its long wheelbase, offers a ton of space in the second row. And now the beauty about this car is you get around 41 inches of legroom back here. That's about 3 to 5 inches more than what you're gonna find in its competitors, which again gives this car a huge selling advantage over even cars like the Hyundai Tucson, which have a little bit less rear seat legroom. But you can see hard touch plastic materials back here with that same kind of aluminum look faux trim, padded armrest over here, more piano black trim. And then these seats, like I showed you earlier, they do fold down, but they also offer a nice recline function. So there's a little lever over here. You can see once I pull that lever, this actually reclines pretty far back actually, so you can get pretty comfortable back here. So I'm surprised at how versatile that is. Now, shut the door, you can see once you're back here, there's just a ton of room to spread out, to put a car seat back here, a child seat. You can see there's 2 USB-C dongles there. You have rear seat air vents, which is nice. Surprisingly, no heated rear seats. However, you can find that in some competitors. You have 2 storage pockets, not a flat floor here, surprisingly as well, but the vehicle is wide enough to be able to sit 3 across, I believe. And if you fold this down, you have an armrest that has 2 cup holders. So overall, the backseat area is definitely among the most spacious in the segment, and really what would make it perfect is if they added heated rear seats and perhaps manual rear sunshades. That's something that you can get in the new Nissan Rogue, for example. So here we are back in the 2023 Kia Sportage, the all-new 5th generation. This is the first ever hybrid version of the vehicle, and it's a smart decision on Kia's part. I mean, they got rid of the 2-liter turbo, so technically the plug-in hybrid is now the most powerful version of the Sportage, but this is kind of sitting comfortably in the middle, this SX Prestige model with up to 227 horsepower. It has more horsepower versus the Toyota RAV4 hybrid, which is technically the one to beat in this segment of vehicle. Now, when I last 0 to 60 tested this vehicle back in April of last year, I got a little over 8 seconds. So let's go ahead and see what we can get this time back home. I've got the vehicle into its sports setting. We'll just disengage the traction control. We'll brake torque it. It's in sport mode, like I said. It doesn't really like brake torquing, so we'll just floor it. And this model here is standard all-wheel drive. It's got a 6-speed auto. And we got 0 to 60 in 7.45 seconds here. So it's about a half a second quicker than when I first tested this vehicle. And 7.45 is pretty respectable. I will say, however, this is a smidge slower versus my best time that I got in a 2022 RAV4 hybrid, which did it in 6.9 seconds. This pretty much matches the acceleration in my first drive of the new CR-V hybrid. And then I can't remember what I got in a Tucson hybrid, but the plug-in hybrid Tucson, I think I got 7.1 seconds or something like that. So haven't driven the plug-in hybrid version of this car, but what's interesting about this vehicle is the fact that it has a turbo engine with a 6-speed automatic transmission, a completely different recipe versus what Toyota uses for their hybrid system. But let's go ahead and test it out again right here. We'll just floor it again. Remember, it doesn't like brake torquing it, but what I love about this all-wheel drive system is it's a conventional all-wheel drive system. It just puts the power down really well, 7.7 seconds there. So a little bit slower here because we're going slightly more uphill, but still very respectable performance. And in this segment of vehicle, people are gonna be pretty happy with this type of acceleration. But let's go ahead and switch the drive mode over into Smart. This is kind of like an adaptive drive mode, which cycles between eco, normal, and sport, depending on your level of enthusiasm. And what really surprises me actually is how well this hybrid system works. It's so much smoother than what I remember driving when this hybrid system first came out in some Hyundai vehicles a couple of years ago. I'm not the biggest fan of a 6-speed auto in a hybrid application. I think CVTs, the way Toyota does it, is the more efficient and slightly quicker accelerating option. But for those of you who prefer a more traditional feel, when I put my foot down here, you can feel it actually will shift gears. The engine isn't quite as buzzy as the engine in the Toyota RAV4 hybrid. So if you like a more muted sound to the gas engine, this is going to be a little bit better. It has a more traditional sound as well. But what I do notice is the transition between electric and gas is, while it is smoother, it's still not quite as smooth as what I've tested in the latest Toyota hybrid systems. They just, I think, perform a little bit better in that regard. Although this has gotten a lot better, I would have to drive the two cars back to back along with the new Honda hybrid system to see which one is actually best. But I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with the overall feel and dynamics of this car. The new Sportage has gotten a lot bigger this year, and you definitely feel its added weight. You can see here, car's actually staying in EV right now. It's back into gas engine mode. But again, the 6-speed auto offers really smooth shifts, just really slow shifting. It's a very slow shifting transmission. And I'm surprised that Kia didn't want to go with an 8-speed auto or something like that. But Again, they've got a dual clutch that they used to put in their hybrid systems. They decided to go to a conventional automatic, I'm guessing for smoothness. But again, it is relatively a good powertrain. Like right now, the car is coasting. It's turned off the gas engine. You can see in the tachometer how it turns it off, and we're just kind of coasting along. I could even hit the accelerator ever so slightly, but as soon as I tap it a little too far, it turns the engine back on. So remember, this is not the plug-in hybrid where it has the bigger 13.8 kilowatt hour battery pack. This is just designed to give you electric-only cruising at low, very low speeds. But here, actually, it's staying in EV. There's the gas engine coming on at around 10 miles an hour. But what's weird is you don't even notice this engine has a turbo slapped onto it. Like, if I didn't know, I would assume that it's a naturally aspirated engine. But again, it feels good in day-to-day driving. Now, in terms of the rest of the comfort here, I like the seats in this SX Prestige model. These are a Syntex faux leather material in carmine red, which are comfortable and supportive. They feel as good as the last seats that I tried out in a RAV4 hybrid. Visibility is also pretty good. You can see out of the front, the sides, the back really well. This car has their DriveWise package that also includes adaptive cruise control with stop and go, and it also has their blind view cameras. So if I signal right or left, it shows you what's in your blind spot, along with blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, automatic emergency braking, cross traffic braking. You do have to go for this top of the line Prestige model to get the adaptive cruise, however, and the full 360 camera. So that's something where Toyota throws in adaptive cruise in all trims of their RAV4. So Kia decided to go a different route. If you buy the sister vehicle to this car, the Tucson, it does come standard with adaptive cruise, but that car is also about $3,000 more versus the Sportage. So Kia decided to go with a different route here. But overall, it's still a very nice driving vehicle. Now, in terms of fuel efficiency, this is where I noticed that this hybrid powertrain, while they have made it smoother and it accelerates fine, it doesn't get better or real-world MPG versus the Toyota RAV4 hybrid. I haven't had a chance to test out the fuel efficiency in a CR-V hybrid. In my week's worth of testing, I've been averaging around 35 MPG in mostly mixed driving. That is a 3 MPG short of the 38 that the car is supposed to get. You can go for a front drive model that's supposedly going to get 43 MPG combined, but I haven't had a chance to drive that model yet. This is about 5 MPG less versus what I got in a Toyota RAV4 hybrid. So something to keep in mind. Obviously, this is still way more efficient versus the gas-only Sportage, but if you're looking for tops of the class fuel efficiency, sadly, the Sportage won't give you that. Neither will the Tucson hybrid with the same powertrain. So it kind of tells me that perhaps Hyundai and Kia should consider looking into a CVT, because that'll probably improve the efficiency and the acceleration a little bit. But again, for those of you who prefer a more traditional drive, this 6-speed auto certainly delivers, and 35 MPG is nothing to snark at. It's actually a really good number. Combine that with a 13.7 gallon fuel tank, and this car was showing about 450 miles on a full tank. It's a little bit shy of the EPA's number, which I believe is 500 miles. So again, try the MPG out yourself. If you guys own this car, let me know what you actually get in terms of your real world MPG. I am very impressed with the hybrid powertrain. I think the hybrid is still the one to get. Is it better than the Toyota RAV4 hybrid? In terms of the powertrain efficiency and acceleration, no. But the rest of this car has more interior space, a better, nicer looking interior with far better tech, although it's missing wireless CarPlay, which seriously annoys me. And you have a ton of space in the trunk and in the back seat. And for some of you, that might be the selling factor, the deciding factor. But overall, the new Sportage, just like the Tucson on which it's based, this is a very impressive new compact, slightly mid-size-ish family SUV. So after spending a full week with the all-new, fully redesigned 2023 Kia Sportage Hybrid, I have to say Kia offers a very impressive package here, especially for those of you who want an SUV that offers more rear seat legroom and more cargo space versus a lot of its direct rivals. The back seat, as you guys saw, has a ton of space and legroom that's comparable with a lot of mid-size SUVs, along with the trunk capacity. In terms of the interior, for technology and luxury, Kia is also right there at the top with its Mercedes-like twin 12-inch monitors, its comfortable Syntex leather seats, which are faux leather, which are also heated and ventilated. Really, my only ding for this car is the fact that it doesn't have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. That's something that the Honda CR-V and the Toyota RAV4 offers. Kia keeps promising that that's coming with their next generation of infotainment system, which the software is fine, it just is missing that extra wireless option that kind of takes it into the next level. In terms of handling dynamics, this is on the comfort end, which is fine. Most people don't really care too much for sporty driving crossovers. You could buy something like the Mazda CX-5 to get that, but Mazda doesn't offer a hybrid version. It offers way less interior space. And in terms of the efficiency, I think 35 mpg is still very good, but remember, you're gonna get about 40 mpg if you guys go for the Toyota RAV4 hybrid, which is still the benchmark and it's still the best seller in the segment. In terms of acceleration, 7.4 seconds is also very respectable in terms of that time. I highly recommend going for the hybrid version versus the base gas engine, because that car is gonna be about a second and a half slower. But overall, if you guys are looking to purchase this vehicle, they are already on sale, and they start at around $27,500 for the base version of the hybrid. It's about a $1,200 extra charge versus the gas only version. I highly recommend it. Again, you'll make up that extra cost in fuel savings alone within the first year or two, depending on how much you actually drive. I suspect most of you are gonna go for at least an EX trim. That's gonna be around $31,000. It'll give you a lot of the extra technology features that most buyers want. And then if you want everything, which means you want the panoramic sunroof, you want the 360 camera, you want the heated and cooled seats, you want their full driver assistance tech package, this SX Prestige starts at around $36,000 plus destination. Remember, all-wheel drive is included on the EX and SX version. It's standard front-wheel drive if you go for the base LX. So my tester here with the shadow gray paint and the destination charge comes into a little over 38 grand, which again is a pretty good deal. You could also look at a RAV4 hybrid, which will be a little over 40 grand if you guys go for a fully loaded model. So technically the Kia is a little bit less expensive. It's also a little bit less expensive versus the Tucson hybrid, its cousin basically, which makes this car far more appealing. So if you guys like the styling of this car, you want the extra efficiency, you want the extra space, I highly recommend you put the new Kia Sportage Hybrid at the very top of your list. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2023 Kia Sportage Hybrid. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.